I think at the very essence of the cooperative business model is the realization that we are here to serve, not to be served.
It's a wonderful model. It allows you to feel good about what you do.
It's focused on serving our members at the end of the line, keeping rates competitive, comes back to that service to the members and service to our local communities.
Basin has been serving its members by leaving no stone unturned as it relates to trying to look at ways to control costs.
The needs of the member cooperatives have changed so much over the years that Basin's role obviously will have to change too. And if my goal is to be more renewable, how could I be better off than having the most cost effective? And that comes with the economies of scale that alone we don't have.
Basin's done a good job of purchasing wind generation. The market's going to continue to change. Basin has a good plan now to get more market exposure, capture the value that's in the market for generation and capacity.
Now, diversity is actually a tremendous strength.
When you have a G&T that's that large, they can take advantage of multiple markets.
The communication between Basin and the distribution system is critical.
How to communicate, when to communicate, what content to communicate, the frequency that we communicate.
If you pull all the strengths that we have together and you just don't look at yourself, the better off every co-op, every member Basin is, the better off I am too. It's our strength together that matters.
Good morning and welcome to our annual meeting, our 2017 annual meeting. I think as you see that video, you can really see our members' commitment to the Basin family. And it's my hope that as we go through this annual meeting with all of you, you will see our Basin Electric commitment to you to serve you, the membership. You know, this is, and I think you've probably already noticed this, but this is going to be a different kind of annual meeting. We changed our format. It kind of begins with my speech here today. I'm really not doing a speech. And I guess I'll have to tell you a little story about it. I rolled this out to my senior staff saying, well, I don't think I'm going to do a speech this year. I'm going to do something more in terms of just having a conversation with the membership. A little bit like, and many of you have probably seen him do it, what Vern Dosh does at his NAIC annual meetings. And my senior staff's reaction was, Paul, no, Vern does that well. I'm not sure. So at any rate, bear with me, but I really want this to be a conversation with you, the membership, because it's so important that we reach out to you, because we really are, as Wayne just so appropriately pointed out, we really are here to serve you, the members. So today I want to talk a little bit about our strategic direction. I want to update you on some strategic initiatives, in particular at Basin Electric, but before I start, I really want to impress upon you a couple of things. The first one is we are strong, and we are very financially strong, and we are stable. And the other point I want to make to you today is we have worked very hard in the last 6 months with our board via strategic planning and doing some other things to build a strategic direction. And you're saying, well, what does that mean, Paul? Well, that means building a strategic direction both at DGC and Basin to set a path to ensure that these assets that you've entrusted us with have a great future. And I'm so confident in this path. I'm confident in it. We're going to get there. We're not done yet, but I want to touch on a few of the points today, visit with you. Over the coming months, you'll hear more and more about this as we roll it out. But we face some challenges. Coal is a fuel source. I think Lieutenant Governor Sanford touched on it as well. You know, coal is forced to compete with the wind on a daily basis. Every day, Ken Rudder and his marketing folks stack those coal units against zero fuel cost wind. Every day. And you know, most recently, coal was challenged with the Clean Power Plan. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt just recently rescinded the plan, and we're very grateful for that. We think that is the right course because we want to make sure that we're able to tease the entire economic life out of our coal assets. Because you, the membership, built those assets years ago and they have debt against them yet. It's imperatively important that we continue down that path. And so one of the things I want to talk about this morning a little bit is, while we have an administration that is friendly to coal, we need to take the opportunity to put a new power plan, clean power plan rule in place. And you're probably going to go, well, Paul, why would you want to do that? And well, it's really simple. We agree with Administrator Pruitt to rescind the old rule, but we think it's imperative that we work with a friendly administration right now to put a new rule in place. A rule that will ensure that we can stretch out our time and gain flexibility to make sure that we can, as I said earlier, to tease the economic life out of these coal units. The other thing it'll allow us to do is it'll allow us to innovate. All of you in the room are very familiar with the electric utility industry. You don't do things overnight. When we put steel in the ground, it takes 35, 40 years to recover those costs. It really does. And so it takes time to also develop new technologies. For example, the Integrated Test Center, and John Jacobs will talk about this a little later, but the Integrated Test Center was founded about 1.5 years ago. It's at our Dry Fork Station. Governor Meade of Wyoming had the vision. And coupled with Tri-State, our sister G&T Tri-State, and also NRECA, Dry Fork Station is the host site for this, and we're excited about it. Very soon we'll have about 6 vendors who will demonstrate about 5 or 6 different technologies to extract flue or extract CO2 from the flue. That's important because what does that do? Well, that'll ensure a longer life for coal, but it takes time. We need time and flexibility in a new rule to allow us to do those things. Another technology we've looked at, and Lieutenant Governor Sanford also mentioned this, is the alum cycle. The alum cycle basically takes CO2 and compresses it to a supercritical state and turns a turbine. But it's environmentally clean, and it utilizes coal and natural gas to do it. So I think it's important, as we talk about this, a new clean power plan, to make sure we have time and flexibility, time to demonstrate our new technologies, time to make sure that we can run our plants to their economic life, but also we need to demonstrate that we can and will reduce CO2 as we roll forward. So let's talk a little bit more about DGC. And I want to spend a little time on this morning, just because I think that it's important that you understand, as Wayne pointed out, we've owned this plant since 1988. We've garnered about $1.4 billion in benefits from it. But the plant operates in a very volatile commodity price environment. There's just no doubt about it. And recently, very low hydrocarbon fuel prices, think gas and oil, have put the plant in a challenged way as far as its economics. But I think the most exciting thing I can bring to you this morning, and Matt Greek is going to talk more about this, is in just a few short weeks, we're going to start up our urea plant. The plant is about 99.1 or 2% done. It's ready to go. It's being tested even as we speak. This is going to really change the dynamics of DGC. We're going to move from a hydrocarbon fuels plant to a fertilizer plant. This is so important. And the other day I was talking to some of the accountants, and I said to them, what would it take to bring the plant to break even in terms of commodity prices? And I was surprised at the answer. They said a 15% lift in the commodity prices would basically bring the plant to break even. That's not very much. I know a lot of you out there, and I talked to a lot of you last night, deal in commodities every day, whether it be soybeans or corn or cattle, whatever it is. You understand these prices how. But just think how volatile those prices are. And so the other thing we must do with DGC is we must take a look at its cost structure. We must redo it. We must lower the costs such that when we have this volatility going on, we can take our cost structure, our total costs, lower them so that the plant can weather the volatility of these prices. It's so important, and we can do that. We can do that, and we're going to get this done. And you know what that'll do? That'll ensure that it can weather these storms and remain an asset for you, the membership. So let's talk a little bit more about Basin Electric here as we go forward. You know, our member loads have slowed in pace. I think that as we take a look at it here in a lot of ways, I know there are a lot of you out there, and some of it is the slowdown in the Bakken, but I think if we talk a little bit about, and if I would visit with a few of our member owners that are out there, they would say, it really hasn't slowed down that much. It really hasn't. But at any rate, we have slowed down a little bit. Dave Rotz will speak to this tomorrow quite a bit more. And a lot of, you know, every day that we go in and we evaluate our resources, we always have to evaluate, as I said earlier, that coal is in competition with cheap wind. And so I think the other initiative we need to keep looking at is how do we run those coal plants to their economic life? How do we make sure that they remain in competition with cheap gas and wind? And so I think it's the same thing as DGC. We need to lower our costs, and we haven't done a real bad job. I think up to now, last year, I think we carved about $165 million out of our budgets. We've done pretty well this year, but there's more we can do. There's more we can do, and you can see on the screen here, through September, nearly 100 million more, but I will say this is a different kind of cost reduction. We've implemented a strategic cost management, and it's a process change. It's changing how we do business. It's changing efficiencies and effectiveness. It's changing with technologies that help us do our business in a cheaper way. And I think that's so important as we look at this, because at the end of the day, it's all about cost control. How can we do business and maintain those coal plants at rates that we can continue to ensure that they're for you, the members, to the end of their economic life? So let's talk about some some initiatives, and in particular, employee initiatives. You know, we have to be cognizant of the changing dynamics in the workforce. You know, over the next 5 years, we are going to retire over 800 employees at Basin Electric. It's just a fact of life. And I will tell you this, the new employees, the young employees I see coming into our workforce, I'm so impressed with. They're bright, they're energetic, they're innovative. You know, I always think about this. The internet was discovered about 23 years ago. My daughter is 23 years old. She's never known a day on the earth that she hasn't been exposed to the internet. It's just their way of life. They understand technology. It's their second way. It's like turning on the television for them. And so I'm so impressed. I'm excited. This is going to be so great for them. The other thing we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that they're trained for supervision, because us old guys are not going to be around forever, and we want them to be at the helm and ready. And I'm confident they can do that. I've seen them in action. I'm so impressed with them. The last employee initiative is safety. I'll power my safety. And I'm so proud of our employees. This is our employees did this. Management didn't come to them and say, you must do this. They took this program and they made it what it is today. They did. And we all participated, all the way to me. I'm so impressed with that, because at the end of the day, and we talk to them all the time about this, the most important thing is to go home safely from the workplace. And our employees are doing that through this program. I'm so proud of their efforts. Another strategic initiative we want to work on is our member rates. You know, our 2016 mid-year rate increase was painful. It was painful for all of you. I have had so many of the distribution managers come up to me and go, Paul, you know, you raise rates, but you don't get it, because when I have to go out to my end customers and tell them that my rates of your cost of electricity has to go up 15 or 20%, that's painful. We get that. We understand that. And so what we'd really like to be able to do is establish a margin stabilization plan, a program, an insurance policy, if you will. Your insurance policy. And what it would basically do is it would basically be held so that if we would run into an event like we ran into in 2016, we could use this, because we need to flatten that out. We can't have these shock events like this. Your competitiveness at the end of the line becomes challenged, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that you can stay competitive with your competitors out there. And so it would be our way to help, so that we would hold this and we could get this done this way. And you'll hear a lot more about this also from Steve Johnson when he comes up for his CFO report. Another initiative, and I have to tell you, we are so pleased with our added value from SPP, and CEO Nick Brown is going to address you, the membership, here in a minute, but we are so pleased so far with our SPP membership. The next step is the West Side, and it's Mountain West. Along with our sister G&T Tri-State in WAPA, we're attempting to get that initiative completed. We're not sure. We hope that can be done sometime in 2019. But the one thing I want to leave with you is it's going to be a benefit to you. It's going to be a benefit to our margins and our financials. It's going to be a benefit. Ken Rudder and Mike Reisen will talk a lot more about this later, but I think the takeaway here is we've got a lot of work to do. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done, and it's going to be a benefit. So really, kind of in summary here, and kind of bringing things back together, talking a little bit about our strategic initiatives and summarizing. On the DGC side, it's restructuring our costs so that it can come through these tough times, and also getting our fertilizer factory up and running so that we have built that asset for you, the members. On the Basin side, it's maintaining our coal and stretching the life out of our coal, making sure that we can be competitive. It's our employee initiatives, it's our member rate initiative, and of course SPP. These are all things that will ensure the long-term value of the assets at both DGC and Basin. Because you've entrusted us with these assets. You've entrusted us, and it is our obligation, it is our commitment to you to serve you and to make sure these assets are well taken care of, because we understand it. We understand that. And I'm going to stand here today and tell you we're going to continue to work hard, we at Basin, to do that. So really, kind of in summary here, I thought a little bit about this, and I think you saw the video at the beginning here. You know, this cooperative was founded by the membership from the grassroots. It brings strength and diversity to our membership. You know, over 50 years ago, it was built to serve rural America. And I think about my own self, about the business model of cooperatives, and the fact that where I grew up, we hauled our grain to Farmers Union Elevator. We got our electricity from James Valley Electric, now Dakota Valley Electric, of which I'm a member yet. We got our telephone from Dickey Rural. We bought our oils and fuels from Cenex, all cooperatives. I'll never forget when I took this job, my father said to me, well, why are you taking that job, and where are you, what is this? And I said, well, it is the people that serve or deliver electricity to James Valley Electric. And he goes, well, is that a co-op? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, you might be all right then, he said. And so I just want to impress upon you that we are going to be all right. And today, as I stand here, we are financially strong, and we have a strategic path, and I'm confident in that path. I'm confident in that path. And so in closing, I just want to say this. As I was getting ready for this, I happened to cross over the last 3 years of our annual meeting themes. And they speak together so well for what we are. Because it is our people, it is our power, and our purpose to serve you, the members, making us strong and united, that together, we are built to serve. I want to thank all of you for all your support the past year. I want to especially thank my board for their support. They've been terrific. I hope you have a good annual meeting. If there's any questions, we'll be here for the next 2 days. Thank you for coming.